You probably are having a sigh of relief, Jane, because it's nicely ticking higher, that share price today for 121. Now, we spoke just a couple of months ago, and you stuck by your guns. You said, I own BP shares, and I'm going to stick with them in the longer term. How much can that share price actually increase?
Well, I think, assuming that they have managed to cap the oil, that the integrity of the well is intact, and therefore the relief wells will finally manage to cap the oil, as you have said, then I think we can still see another 20% upside in the share price from here in the shortish to medium term, because that will put BP in a position where we can actually start really assessing the cash flows on an ongoing basis. It's very important to know which assets they're selling, of course, because that is reducing their ongoing cash flow. So we don't want them to sell too many of their assets, but at the same time it is giving them good liquidity so that they are perfectly able to pay out all the claims as quickly as possible and really close this matter for good.
Yeah, and when they're selling them, and also to whom, are you confident that they're not going to sell on the cheap because they're desperate?
Well, I definitely hope they're not going to be selling on the cheap, and I think it is it's very important that the management really hold out for good prices, because there is still a lot of bidding for assets around the world, for oil assets. It's not just the US companies that can bid for US assets. There are foreign companies that are also interested, particularly the emerging markets economies. China, we know, is interested in acquiring more oil assets around the world. So I think there should be a good market, and I think they should make sure that it is perceived as being a fair price, because there's a danger, if it isn't, that the claimants may say that they're undermining the company's ability to pay, and so there could be all kinds of legal wrangles and all kinds of additional problems that would then come through. So I think it has to be transparent and it has to be seen as a good price.
Jane, there's talk, of course, about having a moratorium here on deep-sea drilling in Europe. Overall, has it changed your view on oil and gas products, or are you still a believer that despite all the regulation that may be put in place, it's going to go strong?
I think that the oil price is still going to creep up over time, and in fact, because of all the regulations and the difficulty of getting oil, the raising cost of getting oil out of such deep sea deposits, then we are going to see higher oil prices over the longer term, and generally that will be good for returns from oil companies.
Anything else that you'd be looking to buy? You own BP, but have you actually bought more shares in BP?
We do own BP, and we were buying, yes, as it appeared that things were beginning to come to a head and beginning to get under control. I think the other oil companies that we've been very interested in have also been the excitement that's going on down in the Falklands, and we are a big holder of Rockhopper, who've discovered oil down there, and that oil is in the sea, but it's a lot shallower, and so we expect them to be able to get it out for less money.